Saturday morning coffee with Dragan. Yours truly, multidisciplinary artist international, universal spiritual teacher, world LGBTQ citizen, lover of coffee. Adrian H. Dragan, also known as Han. Gonna be drinking some instant coffee, product of Brazil. And of course, at the end of the video, we'll be reading on Brazil since the coffee is there, and just to know a little bit more, acquire more wisdom, understanding, and knowledge about Brazil. Ladies, gentlemen, LGBTQ nation, what's happening? Let me know of any topics that you might want discussed, analyzed, or dragonized. Today it's a Saturday morning, 10 o'clock EST, Montreal, Hawk Island. I've just I'm gonna rest all day. Yesterday did some workout or cardio walk and played Santa. Yes, Santa Claus for a group of actually three groups of children of different ages, but they were all together with three different groups in a daycare. So that was really fun. Hope brought some joy. Supposedly I did very good incarnating Santa Claus and ho ho ho. That was pretty cool. So love to initiate our youth into literature reading, then volunteering with that, and of course bringing them some joy and channeling that synergetic energy. Channeling that energies and those different energies to bring joy and cultivate good habits. Today, on the main topic will be biblical mysteries. I've done one in the past a few weeks ago on biblical mysteries. Most of our civilization, of course, in part Western, what we call Western, although myself am a pretty universal. And first, because these troubled times between myself as a world citizen in Canada, Canadian world LGBTQ citizen, troubled by the recent developments with China, because the RCMP, that is our federal police, the Mounties, mount on those horses, have arrested the chief financial officer of Huawei, the major telecommunications company, one of the major ones in the world. Actually, it overtook Apple in November last year to become the biggest producer and seller of smartphones, and from my understanding it's the biggest producer of telecommunications equipment, ranging from cell phones to, of course, the infrastructure, the cell phone towers, and the cables for the internet, also related products. So I want to call for good Sino North American relations. Sino, of course, stands for China mainly, the Chinese civilization. So hopefully a cordial, peaceful, and harmonious resolution will be found. And also when it comes to trade, of course, we are balanced, free trade, fair trade. Anyways, today the topic is biblical mysteries. I'm a aspiring scholar of religions, especially Judaism, and they have done it in the past, discussed several mysteries in the Bible, but this mystery that I want to focus on is in the last chapter of Genesis. So I have a Bible here. This is the Torah with the prophets, and it's called the Writings of King Solomon, of course. It's what some people call the Old Testament. So I'm going to jump right into the topic. And goes with the last chapters of Genesis, specifically Genesis chapter 50. And with that, a special question to anybody hearing this discourse conversation over coffee with Dragan episode. Then I'm going to answer the question: who built the pyramids? How is it that today, with all the technology, we got skyscrapers, satellite telecommunications, scientists, architects, scholars cannot agree on how the pyramids were built, and that's mere speculation. Pyramids is the complex at Giza, next to Cairo, a few miles. I call the three holy pyramids were built approximately 4,500 years ago. That is more time than the birth of Jesus of Nazareth, ranging back in time 4,500 years. Think about that for a moment. Those three majestic ones, those three main pyramids. So how, we don't know. What do you think? Anybody, if you hear this question, please let me know what you think of who actually built the pyramids. The three pyramids, those are City of the Pyramids, which is my holy city. There's other people have holy cities. Some Catholics who never went to Rome, of course, holiness for Catholics, the Pope in Rome, center for Catholicism, the headquarters, the holy city. And of course, they also have Jerusalem and Nazareth. Jews, of course, myself being part Jewish, of course, Jerusalem, Jerusalem. Muslims, of course, Islam, Mecca and Medina, both actually, but Mecca more, Medina, was holy city, the main holy city. Right? Myself have got the holy city that's holy for me is the pictures what I just showed you in the city of the, but also all the world, of course, is holy, and even trees, plants, creatures, all fathomable, we call Mother Earth. But let's say if we're to have a central point or a central headquarters, if you want, like other religions, would have to be that spiritually it's the city of the pyramid. Torah mysteries, Bible mysteries. Genesis chapter 50. There are so many mysteries of the Bible that aren't explained in detail or in depth, and that actually propel us to question and question and question even more. One of those is Genesis chapter 50. So I'm going to read it to you. Genesis chapter 50. Then Joseph fell upon his father's face. He wept over him and kissed him. And of course, translation is slightly, but generally, since of course this is a Bible that's also has the Hebrew version, it's more accurate translation here. So then Joseph fell upon his father's face. He wept over him and kissed him. Joseph ordered his servants, the physicians, to embalm his father. This is the first mystery here. Jacob, patriarch of the 12 tribes of Israel, and Dinah, of course, the daughter. So, right, Dinah, the daughter, embalmed his father. So the physicians embalmed Israel. Israel gets embalmed. What's going on here? How come? This doesn't correlate. Doesn't make sense. Seems out of place. Patriarch of the Jewish people, slaves of Egypt, slave to Pharaoh, became slaves. Why embalm? Embalming is for the Egyptian. Period in time, embalming was for royalty. How can this happen? How can they allow a foreigner in Egypt to be embalmed? What's going on? The embalmment was a sacred, religious ceremony. It has a spiritual connotation. Wasn't this in violation to the God of the Jews? Of course, the term Jew did not come about until later with Judah, but we'll not go into the history of that, historical appellation, and that will be probably for another cup of coffee, the mystery of the Jewish people, of the continuation of the Jewish people, to maintain, embodied in the Torah. Stories are more than 3,000 years old, and then of course a scholar and an advocate for Jewish civilization that spans right up to the date here. I'm just saying, this is 3,500, more than 3,500 years ago, right? Or so chronologically. It's disputed decades, and I'm not going to those disputes right now. To embalm his father. So the physicians embalmed Israel. First mystery. Seems like a paradox here. This doesn't make sense. Embalm. What would the patriarch, the one that gave the name Israel to the world and to father the 12 tribes of Israel, the nation, need to be embalmed by Egyptians? Why didn't his sons? His sons were already there in Egypt. Why didn't they do a burial like they did in Canaan? Doesn't add up. Doesn't make sense. A paradox. Sons, it should have said, the sons buried their father, the tribes of Israel. Why embalm them? Was there so close a relationship developed? Of course, we know that Joseph married an Egyptian, Potiphar's Asenat, Potiphar's daughter. Then we go on. His 40-day term was completed. So 40 days is the amount that it takes for the embalming procedure. 40 days. We've heard this 40 days before. It's 40. 40 journeys, 40 days. Then Moses go for 40 days missing. Was died and came rebirth, embalmed, the mummy came up. I'm joking aside, but mummy revived and Revenge of the Mummies. Just had a script in Hollywood to make it, but maybe starring Harvey Weinstein. Maybe not. We move on. This 40-day term was completed. 40-day term was completed. Wasn't Jesus something to do with 40 days here? 40 days of Jesus. Something. You let me know. What was the Jesus of Nazareth? Rabbi Jesus' 40 days missing, going somewhere in the desert. Was in the desert. Moses also. This 40-day term was completed for Jacob. For such is the term of the embalmed. Such is the term of the embalmed. And Egypt bewailed him for 70 days. Did I just read that correctly? Let me read the Hebrew here. It's a mistranslation. This cannot possibly be. Patriarch of the Jewish people, Jacob, also known as Israel. Let me double check just to make sure. Alright, so it says, let's say, Mitzrayim Shebayim Yom. Mitzrayim Shebayim Yom. Mitzrayim Shebayim Yom. Yes, it does. It says that in Hebrew, the original Hebrew, or in Torah, original Bible in Hebrew. That's what it says, unchanged. The letters. All of Egypt bewailed him for 70 days. All of Egypt? What's going on here? What do you mean all of Egypt? Wasn't he supposed to be a foreigner here? Israel, right? Slavery in Egypt. What's going on? Father of the 12 tribes. Why would Egypt mourn him, bewail him? And not only that, but for 70 days. What's going on here? That's to do the same for patriarchs of the children, the tribes of Israel, to do the same as they would for a Pharaoh, What does it mean? Oh. When his bewailing period passed, Joseph spoke to Pharaoh's household, saying, "If you please, if I have found favor in your eyes, speak now in the ears of Pharaoh, saying, My father had adjured me, saying, Behold, I am about to die, in my grave which I have hewn for myself in the land of Canaan." Why is it the conquest of Canaan? Egypt expanding. What's going on here? Helping each other. Tribes of Jacob, tribes of Israel, children of Israel, helping Pharaoh. All of Egypt mourns for Jacob. What's this paradox here? What's this mystery here? I can only speculate. The deep, profound spiritual meaning here for world peace, security, and prosperity. From the pyramids to the world, to Jerusalem, Mecca, Medina, Montreal, Hawk Island, the International Space Station, collaboration, cooperation, community, coffee. Well, I'm about to die, my good child. There you are to bury me. Now I will go up, if you please, and bury my father, then I will return. And Pharaoh said, Go up and bury your father as he adjured you. So Joseph went up to bury his father, and with him went up all of Pharaoh's servants, the elders of his household. What's going on? And all the elders of the land of Egypt. Wow, nice. It's like Pharaoh died almost. Yeah, Pharaoh died in the morning. Special transition period. What's going on? And all of Joseph's household, his brothers and his father's household, only their young children, their flocks and their cattle did they leave in the land in the region of Goshen. And he brought up with him both chariots and horsemen, and the camp was very imposing. They came to Gor and Hatad, which is across the Jordan, and there they held a very great and imposing eulogy. And he ordained a 7-day mourning period for his father. So it adds a mourning period after the 7 days, after the 40-day embalmment, and then 70 days when Egypt will bewail for Jacob. When the Canaanite inhabitants of the land saw the mourning in Gor and Hatad, they said, This is a grievous mourning for Egypt. For Egypt? Well done. Therefore it was named Avel Mitzrayim, which is across the Jordan. That's peculiar, a mourning for Egypt, but Jacob is 12 tribes of Israel, the father, the patriarch of the Jewish people. What's this mystery here? What's this? It doesn't... Of course it requires spiritually, we're revealed more and more layers of understanding. But then it also leaves us with more and more and more questions. And now, because just another mystery quickly here, because I've opened the pages right there with the altar. So we're gonna jump to Exodus chapter 30. Chapter 30. Mizbeach. You shall make an altar on which to bring incense up in smoke of acacia wood. Of acacia wood shall you make it. Its length a cubit and its width a cubit. It shall be square, and its height 2 cubits. From it shall its horns be. Horns. You shall cover it with pure gold, its roof and its walls all around, and its horns, and you shall make for it a gold crown all around. A gold crown, horns. You shall make for it 2 gold rings under its crown, on its 2 corners. You shall make on its 2 sides, and it shall be for housing for the staves with which to carry it. You shall make the staves of acacia wood. Not acacia wood again here. Acacia wood. And cover them with gold. You shall place it before the partition that is by the ark of the testimonial tablets, in front of the cover that is on the testimonial tablets, where I shall set my meetings with you. Upon it shall Aaron bring the spice incense up in smoke. Every morning when he cleans the lamps, he shall bring it up in smoke. When Aaron kindles the lamps in the afternoon, you shall bring it up in smoke. Continual incense before Hashem for your generations. Interesting. So we got acacia wood, then we have gold here. Of course, there's a deeper, profound meaning behind the wood and gold, but specifically acacia wood. What is this peculiarity of, oh, is there a special meaning of why it was specifically acacia wood? Right? And was that the only wood available? Maybe, maybe not, perhaps. No, there were so many others. Some would answers. Maybe not back in the day. But then if it wasn't another, it was only that type of wood that existed, then he would have mentioned it. Acacia wood. Right? So even there we have a mystery of this specific wood. Right? Wood. Now, we're gonna make a jump, fast forward from Jacob, also known as Israel, being mourned by the Egyptians, and that mystery and his involvement as high priests and priests and pharaohs would be, to Moses building the altar of gold and acacia wood to modern day. I'm gonna jump, I'm gonna go from biblical mysteries, fast forward today, spirituality today. The New Age movement, spiritual revelations, Kabbalah, changes, transitions. A question: can we simply agree on very simple spiritual principles from east to west to north to south? Me, mankind, you, we, mankind, together, mankind, people kind, men, women who are also men who are transitioning to being women, LGBTQ, androgynous, such as myself, fluid, such as myself, non-binary, such as myself. Can we agree on simple rules of conduct, of living? Because I think ultimately the mystery in the spirituality is that this life is a lot of it mystery and a lot of it we don't know. I'm going to say, as much as a scholar as I'm striving to be, calling myself a universal spiritual teacher, I have so much work to do on my own self. Anger issues, financial issues, ex-related issues, right? X, Y, Z to the power of 2 or 3. Can we agree? Let's say this principle in a non-sectarian way. Let's say non-sectarian. Non-sectarian. Harm none. Do your life spiritually. Eat, you, whatever. You eat to be spiritual. You dance to be spiritual. You play music to be spiritual. You gaze at the stars. You raise your hands to the moon and the sun. You kiss, you hug a tree. You kiss a friend. You hug a friend. You do X, Y, Z in your spirituality. Or not harm none. Harm no other being. Harm no other human, fellow, brother or sister. Right? Open question. Yes, we can. Then how can we do it? Let's start. No, we can't. Why not? How come? What's what are the obstacles to reach that simple? And it's freedom related, of course. It's liberty related, right? Spirituality, right? And now I'm going because I made an essay or like a treatise on LGBTQ spirituality. That there is a specific dimension or quality of people who are LGBTQ like me, because that we have, and it's evolving, and it has been, and it's pushing, and some of it is related to new age concepts and ideas, but in reality there isn't a, I'm not gonna go into details because it's just a cup of coffee on its own, that it's original spirituality. Original spirituality. Can we agree? If not, why not? Isn't the world so complex around us? And yes, behavior of others influences us, speech influences us, can trigger us. Where the balance when somebody says feelings do not matter? Feelings, of course, matter. Emotions do matter. You know, facts also. It a balance, harmony. Where can we reach a balance, a harmony, right? Sometimes we don't know what the other's feeling. We don't know how he reacts to certain words, right? Or to a touch. You know, myself do love to be touched. Some others do not like to be touched, you know, or they do, but they're for X and Y reasons, they're germs or psychological reasons, or they live through trauma or X and Y and Z, more reticent. Myself just ask, free to touch, love the touch of other human beings, love how it feels, love just the raw feeling if you want, you know, love to be touched. I would practice it on the daily in my own spirituality. You know, massage, caress, hug, X, Y, Z. Now eat, for example, eating for me. Meditate with meditation. Say a blessing. Say this and that. More than meditation. It's spiritual. How is that spiritual? That seems not to be very spiritual. But eating seems to be actually the counter, a complete opposite of something spiritual. It's gross material, you know. Great, it's great. Grape, my favorite fruit, right? Got a red one also, so I'm gonna balance it. Balance a green and a red, right? Mm. 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 How is eating spiritual? You say that's gross matter material that you're ingesting. And this requires for another cup of coffee to go in depth and give explanations to X and Y and Z why actually I did a video several months ago. Is eating can be very spiritual indeed. How come? No way you say, Jose. No way you say, Jose. No way you say. Yes. So, on that note, going back to, can we agree on certain simple spiritual practices? And also it reverberates into social and political evil, you know, harmland, right? Unless, of course, that person or you agree with somebody too for your own scientific or pleasure even, right? In certain circumstances, some people enjoy pain. What, you know, it's all good. Communication. What a paradox! Isn't that a paradox? And this could be another cup of coffee. That we have internet, voice over internet protocols, and please, if anybody is a scholar, wise, understanding, and knowledgeable in this, contact me. I want to learn it. Telecommunication satellites, right? Voice can be transmitted wirelessly. Satellites, the internet, underwater cables. Wow, wow. And yet we have so much miscommunication and misunderstanding of each other. And again, it comes to that understanding. Okay, Betty. Okay, that's cool. Yeah,
Oh my goodness!
I hear you. What's up?
It's snowing and it's staying.
That's cool. Let it snow, let it snow, let it snow. We're in the holiday spirit here. Although we're in debt 11,000, paying interest 80, minus in the bank, but got a gift card. Have grapes. Have coffee, have to eat. So can we agree on that? Yeah, I think we can. And back to the same finishing off. That miscommunication, that misdialogue comes because, like some say, no, just facts, yes, but also feelings, and emotions, the irrational world, the goddess, all our subconscious minds, removed forces we don't fully understand or grasp of our natures. The urge to love, for example, the urge to love and be loved. Yeah, it's a lack of understanding our natures. So now we shall go and read a bit about Brazil. So the last thing that says that with all the miscommunication, it's because lack of harmony, balance between feelings, emotions, and the rational and the irrational. You gotta work together, right? Oh, you're so irrational. Of course we are. Of course. Also, I can do the math, but I can do the feelings. We gotta balance. It's hard, stepping out of balance. Harmony, too. Brazil. Country in South America. Brazil, a vast South American country, stretches from the Amazon basin in the north to vineyards and massive Iguacu Falls in the south. Rio de Janeiro, symbolized by its 38-meter Christ the Redeemer statue atop Mount Corcovado, is famed for its busy Copacabana and Ipanema beaches, as well as its enormous raucous Carnival festival. Oh yeah, always wanted to go to Carnival. Find it so beautiful, so colorful, just so spiritual, actually. Featuring parade floats, flamboyant costumes, and samba music and dance. The capital is Brasilia. President Michael Temer. Michael Temer. Brazil. Brazil Portuguese. Brazil, officially the Federative Republic of Brazil. República Federativa do Brasil. Let's listen to this. No. Is the largest country in both South America and Latin America. At 8.5 million square kilometers, 3.4, and with over 208 million people. Brazil is the world's fifth largest country by area and fifth most populous. So five geographically by area, and fifth is the most populous. Also in the world, Brazil fifth. First one is China, of course. Second one is India. The third is the United States of America. And fourth, if I'm not mistaken, is actually Indonesia. It's actually Indonesia, right? Or in Indonesia or Nigeria or Pakistan. No. The fifth most populous. I'm gonna go because I do really want to check it. So the capital is Brasilia, and the most populated city is Sao Paulo. The federation is composed of the union of the 26 states, the federal district, and 5,570 municipalities. It is the largest country to have Portuguese as an official language and the only one in the Americas. It is also one of the most multicultural and ethnically diverse nations due to over a century of mass immigration from around the world. So it has two anthems here. This is where it has a anthem called Brazilian National Anthem and the flag anthem. So we're gonna listen to the anthem. from Brazil. Well, that was quite something. And now they also have, and there's a national anthem and also a national flag anthem. So this is actually the national flag anthem now. It's the only country that I saw two different anthems like that. Well, you get the idea. Coffee with Dragan, ladies and gentlemen. We just did a little bit of Brazil since drinking Brazilian coffee, and so educated slightly on the anthems and read a little bit about Brazil, fifth most populous country in the world, and also the geographically the fifth largest. Coffee with Dragon, support, love. Feedback topics.